My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe knows South Lake. I'm back. That's right. Welcome to Joe Knows South Lake. I am so happy to be here back in South Lake. It is an amazing South Lake morning here at South Lake TV. Look, I'm back in the chair. Those of you that follow me on Facebook knows that I went to the frozen tundra of New Hampshire to see my parents. Had a great trip. Good to see family. I don't see them near enough. It was just checking in with my mom and dad and my dad's health and catching up with my sister, sitting down and hearing the tones of the accents surrounding me at breakfast, as I journal, just kind of brought me back, made me feel at home. So glad to be here. I will never make fun of people with seat warmers or heated steering wheels again. I got into my car yesterday. It was 10 degrees plus a wind chill of 12 degrees, which meant it was minus 2 degrees. And I appreciated that heated steering wheel and the heated seat that was warming my behind. So we have a great show for you today, and we're going to talk somewhat about my trip a little bit in a sideways way. What we have for you today, we're going to talk about Mickey Mouse. And there's something about today in Mickey Mouse you may or may not know, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about flying high. And we're going to have a cup of Joe, where we're going to talk about going home. And finally, our guest today is Keith Whitacre. Now, Keith came on and talked about Legal Shield, which is the business he runs in. It's how he makes his living. It's his occupation. But his passion is helping food banks. And Keith actually works with an organization called the Food Providers of South Lake County. He's going to tell us all about it. The general idea is to make sure they're not doubling work. They're feeding the most people with stretching their dollars. And I'll let him tell you all about it. So when we get back, we're going to get right into it. So don't go away. Listen to our sponsors.
Hello, I'm Mary Rhodes with the Mortgage Firm, your local mortgage lender. I've helped thousands of families achieve the dream of homeownership in Lake County, and I would love to help you. Our team has over 30 years of experience helping first-time homebuyers, veterans, move-up buyers, seasoned investors, and more. Please read our reviews and visit us at mortgagefirmpros.com.
Are you tired of having drugs or alcohol ruin your life? Do you need to get off pain pills but still maintain pain relief? My office in Tavares has programs to help you. While not covered by insurance, program fees are affordable. My name is Alan Zupkin. I'm board certified and have helped thousands of patients achieve these goals. Please call me for further information.
Hello, my name is Michael Singh with Singh Insurance and Financial Services. Our goal is to build trust based on a clear understanding of how your insurance policy protects you, your family, and even your business. When was the last time you took a good hard look at your insurance coverage? Would you be open to the possibility of reviewing your policy with me? One review of your policy can save you valuable time and money. Call me today to set up a review of what may be available to you.
One of the things that makes home home, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, is the people that you're surrounded with. And I am so, so grateful to Mary Rhodes, to Michael Singh, and to Dr. Zubkin for really being there to support the station, to support this show. Once again, you've heard me say it. I cannot say it enough. My appreciation for all of our sponsors cannot really be put into words, which is why I say it so much. All right, what are we going to get started with today? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mickey. Happy birthday to you. Yes, it's Mickey Mouse's birthday. In 1927, Mickey Mouse was penned by Walt Disney.
28.
Well, he appeared in the film in 28. In 1927 was when he was first conceived, when Walt drew a floppy-eared bunny. The bunny wasn't, it was actually Mickey the Bunny. Don't know why. But Mickey the Mouse seemed to go, people thought the floppy-eared bunny was a mouse. He made some adjustments, and Mickey Mouse was born. It's first seen in film in 1928 in a cartoon, and that has actually spurred, the belief of Walt Disney is amazing. And we talk about all the awful things that Walt Disney does as a business entity, and, we live in, quote unquote, the land of the rat. But, I appreciate Disney, because without Disney, Orlando wouldn't be what it is. And if Orlando was still just a railhead for cattle and oranges, then Claremont would just be this sleepy little dying town. So I'm really appreciative of the idea. The other thing is, what Mickey represents to me is the belief of a man when everybody told him it wouldn't work. It couldn't work. Walt Disney had failed a half dozen times in a half dozen businesses before he discovered what he was really good at, which was creating films. And created Walt Disney, and then Walt Disney World, and the wide world of Disney. This has created employment, jobs, and joy for children around the world. And Mickey Mouse's birthday is coinciding somewhat with the release of their whole Disney streaming service. I actually have friends that have no children, have no interest in anything Disney, but they want to see the whole new Star Wars thing, and we'll talk about that later in the week. All right, flying high. All right. I was having this conversation with somebody actually recently, my friend John C. Donahue and his mom, about tricks. When you fly Southwest Air, there's a thing. When you fly discount airlines, that they say that there's general seating. They don't assign seats. Well, they don't assign seats, but what they do assign is a boarding order. And so you can pick any seat that's still open when your turn comes. So the key is, how do you get the highest placement in the boarding order? One of the things they do is you can look at you when you check in, you get a number. If your group is B, you're going to be the second group. You're numbered 1 to 60. So if you're in B33, which I was, it means you're probably one of the last ones to board, not one of the first ones to board. So you can pay for an upgrade. I did this, moved my thing up, and at one point I got to I think I was A8, and I got on the plane, and I'm sitting next to this guy, and he looked at me and I looked at him, and he said, well, when I came on, the stewardess said, excuse me, it's not a stewardess anymore, it's an attendant. The flight attendant said that the plane had about 4 empty seats. So the trick here becomes, we're both big guys. How do we keep somebody from squeezing into the middle seat between us? How are we going to make that middle seat be one of the empty seats? Well, we started talking about our irritable bowel syndrome. And then let me see, what did we do? We started talking about all the burritos we had for lunch. I didn't even know this guy, but we're having this conversation as people walk by. We're looking as large as we can. One lady stopped to look at it, and we looked at her and said, would you like to sit down? And she went, oh, I appreciate that. Not on a bet. So we had a leg of our flight where we had some room to spread out. Look, if you'd like to talk about some of my other tips, tricks, and secrets for getting prime seating and keeping that seat empty, call me. I'd love to have coffee and a chuckle with you. Okay. The reason I was flying, because I was going home. And my dad is not in perfect health, and I hadn't seen him in a couple of years. And conversations with my mom and my brother and my sister, I realized I've been meaning to get up there for a while. I was busy. came the opportunity, I just had to carve out the time. And I'm very appreciative for Jay and Miss Doris to really work with me, that we recorded some episodes and did some things so that I could actually fly out Thursday night. Yes, I know you thought we were live on Friday, but we weren't. That I flew out Thursday and was able to go. And you know what's weird? Driving around in place you went to high school, and my wife and I lived there for a time with our children. So there were some memories, good memories, a lot of bad memories. Spent a lot of my time making peace with a lot of the bad memories in my life attached to locations in that area, and making peace with some of the good memories. And so I thought, I'm still processing. I just got back last night. And what I thought would be cool to talk about today is home. Or at least this week on Cup of Joe, because, home means something different to a lot of us. I'm a realtor. I specialize in homes, not in houses. I don't work with investors. I work with people who want to buy a home to live in. But home is so much more than the place that you sleep. Home can be a group of people. It can be a feeling. It can, there are little things that trigger us. I was sharing with Jay and Doris earlier that, one of the things I took great enjoyment on this trip was I went out to a little family diner type place. Place has been there like 40 years. Just to listen to the people around me, and the uniqueness of the New England accent really kind of brought me back to my high school years and my early college years when I was living in that area. The early days I was dating my wife. Little things can trigger you. So we're going to talk about home this week on Cup of Joe. I would say that home is not where you're from, but home is where you're loved. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what home is, where it is, how to define it, how to appreciate it. If you don't feel like you found it, how to find home, or at least maybe to create a little bit of home right where you are. Okay, that's enough about Cup of Joe. We'll talk about that more later in the week. We're going to hear from our sponsors again, and when we come back, we're going to have my friend Keith Whitacre with us. He is going to talk about the food providers of South Lake, what they do, who they are, what their purpose is, how it works, and how you can help. So we'll see you in a minute.
Welcome to Erica's Tea Room. Located in the heart of downtown Claremont, this specialty tea shop offers a traditional high tea experience that can be enjoyed with family and friends. While here, you can choose from over 100 teas from all over the world, and a multitude of teapots are available for purchase. Join us for lunch or choose from one of our special evening events. Call to make a reservation. Erica's Tea Room, making memories with...
Hello, I'm Mary Rhodes with the mortgage firm, your local mortgage lender. I've helped thousands of families achieve the dream of homeownership in Lake County, and I would love to help you. Please read our reviews and visit us at mortgagefirmpros.com.
The best things in life aren't items we can grab and hold. They are the moments that grab and hold us. Moments that captivate us, inspire us, and enrich us. Moments that bring joy, strength, and peace. At Sing Insurance and Financial Services, we help you to treasure these times by being there when life's most difficult moments arise. Through our services, you will find independence, flexibility, health, and security that will prosper and protect your life. Whether you are driving that new car, buying that new home, opening that new business, or building a new family, we provide you the peace of mind and freedom to enjoy life's best things. Your next moment is waiting. Are you ready?
Joe Knows South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors. Welcome back. Once again, always good to hear from our sponsors. If you're not using their services, you should. Call them and mention Joe Knows South Lake and South Lake TV. Keith, welcome back, man.
Yeah, glad to be back, Joe.
It's so good. I love seeing my friends here. In all honesty, most guests become my friends if they're not my friends at first. Keith is from Legal Shield is his occupation. It's what he does for a living, and he helps a lot of people with the Legal Shield service. But he's here today to talk about hunger and the solutions to it in Lake County now, or here in South Lake. Now, there's something here in South Lake that's actually quite unique, and I've been involved with programs all over, and up in North Lake and out in Polk County and over up in Daytona. And, Keith is here to represent the food providers of South Lake. He is a food pantry coordinator. And that, it's something when you said it, it was first told me about it. The last time he was here, he told me about this. I said, we got to schedule you to come back.
That's right.
So I'd like to ask, what is the Food Providers of South Lake? Give us an idea of what that.
So the Food Providers of South Lake, it's an organization that we're collaborating, coordinating with other churches and organizations that want to help with food pantries and food insecurity in our community. I actually walked into Trish Cry's office, the executive director of Faith Neighborhood Center, and I said, how can I help you? I said, I'm a sales guy, I'm a manager. How can I help you? I can work in the back or I can work. She goes, well, we need help talking with other organizations and get to work together. We haven't really had that kind of communication. So I took the task of trying to find other food pantries in the area. She had a list and I had a list. We've been working with Real Life Church, which is a great organization.
Well, you had a list here. Tell us who the food providers of South Lake are.
I want to caveat: there's no way I can name everybody. Our show's not long enough, so I'll try to narrow it down a little bit. So, Real Life Church has been a great supporter. Tim McCormick there and Brenda Blevins, they've been totally awesome. Tandy Hammond, she's with the Church of South Lake and South Lake Community Ministries. She does buses and book packs also, which is a tremendous program.
Is it book packs or backpacks?
Backpacks.
Backpacks.
Book
Okay.
Packs, yeah. You corrected me before. Yeah. Maybe I just put all my books in there.
I did the same thing.
Trish Cry from Faith Neighborhood Center, as I mentioned before.
And we've had Trish on.
First United Methodist Church of Claremont has been a tremendous supporter also. And there's, and the other one that's kind of overall that is Second Harvest. Second Harvest of Orlando has been a tremendous supporter of what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish. And there's a whole list of other folks that I apologize right now that I can't name, but there's just so many working together and just the sense of camaraderie and working together and the fellowship amongst our group and the sharing of resources has just been tremendous. So,
I'd like to ask you to give us an idea. I don't think the average person understands. If you've actually never been to a food bank, it's hard to understand how you really have to have your hat in your hand to ask for help. It can be very, very humbling. But I don't think they understand how it works and how there might be abuses. Why is a coordinator necessary?
Well, I don't think everybody understands that you're just like one paycheck away from not being able to feed your family. If you have your car breaks down or your air conditioning breaks, most people will not buy food in order to pay the rent. So in order to fill that need, you need to have a place to go, and food pantries are the best place to make that happen. So that you don't want your child to go to bed hungry, and that's one of the things I got involved with this to begin with. Extremely passionate about it. Is in this country, no child should go to bed hungry. They should have nutritious food that they can eat, so they can learn in school and they can be productive, and they're not stressed out. I mean, you don't want to worry about where your next meal comes from. I mean, that's one of the reasons. We all, work hard, but not everybody, has a job continuously. Not everybody has the resources, and then when they do need it, they need a place to go, and that's why food pantries.
Here's the thing, though. I think that there's, what I'd like you to maybe try to address a little bit for us is, why would you need to coordinate food pantries? Isn't it okay just to have one here, and to know where they are? I mean, is there a problem with overlapping?
Well, I think everybody has a big heart and they want to do the right thing. But in order to coordinate and maximize the resources that we have, that's why having the organizations talk, because we found out in one city in the county, we were dropped into the same apartment complex in the same week. And nobody was saying anything because they were getting double the food. So in order to coordinate it, because we are actually organizing a food drop on the 23rd of this month at Windy Hills Middle School, and that's a coordinating effort between the food providers. So we're all working together, coordinating together with volunteers, with working with Second Harvest, and it's just it's a great monumental.
I think
effort.
we actually have that up.
So Windy Hills Middle School is on Hancock Road, and it's going to be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Working the school's been awesome to work with, and that's going to be this Saturday. I mean,
That's this Saturday.
Yeah.
And I think you said 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Is that the pickup times, or is that when people wanted to volunteer, when do they show up? Or do they need to call ahead of time?
Well, volunteers, they should call me. So if they want to do that, but right now that's when people who are picking up food should be there. 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock is when, and that's why while supplies last. So we don't need people get there too early because there's just not enough places to put everybody.
Right.
Volunteers will get there sooner. I think we're pretty good on volunteers, but if they do, they can definitely call me.
Great. Perfect.
And it's just a great effort that everybody's working together to make this happen. So
Do you know that there is, and I wanted you to bring that up because I worked with a food bank once, and in a church that I was in, and what always used to amaze me is, we'd get people who qualified, you didn't always know. There are some people out there abusing it. And it's very tempting to try to make rules to keep people from abusing. But it's almost as soon as you do, you're now limiting people who actually need help. And the abuse is usually, like you said, I take 2 full bags of groceries for somebody that's supposed to be 2 people, and they open up their trunk of their Cadillac, and you see that it's filled with groceries from 5 other food banks. And somebody actually informed me that there are people out there that will do that, and then they go get a table at a flea market and they're selling the food.
Yeah, we found, I was talking to Second Harvest, some organization. They said they found that occurrence very low. There's a small percentage that actually do that. But we are addressing that by trying to get a coordinated computer program where we're talking to each other. And it's not to turn people away, but it's to open up the conversation. Maybe grandma over the summer has 10 kids from the families that are visiting her and she needs that. Or maybe somebody just lost their job. So we can say, okay, you need more food. Let's address it. Let's talk about it. Do you need a job that we can refer you to that, or financial advising, or care counseling?
I was fascinated that Trish actually talked well of you and the food providers organization. And something that had never occurred to me is that she seemed to feel, because of the coordination of the food providers, that you can provide for families more consistently. Because different banks have different rules or guidelines on how often they can drop food. By getting a coordinated effort, you guys are actually making sure hungry families eat. I know you brought some information for us about
there were some
hunger
some amazing statistics that kind of shocked me when I started digging into it a little bit more, because I was focused just on South Lake County. But if you look at just Central Florida in general,
can you bring up that hunger picture?
There's 1 in 7 people are food insecure in Central Florida, and that would be.
Tell us what food insecure means.
That's when it's not that they don't have food every day, but they're not during the week. They don't know where one of their meals are going to come from, and it could be any day during the week. Some people are worried about not having 3 square meals a day, so that's.
Is it typically a problem when you have children too?
I just
moving
think
into the summer.
Just summer, because they don't get school lunches in the summertime. And that's a really scary part. The food providers actually worked together to do a summer feeding program. There was grant money that wasn't there, and we worked together in order to feed. And I don't know the exact numbers, but it exceeded our expectations, and we did. We fed a lot of kids, and which was great. I just can't see, because they don't have the school lunch. Like where's their next?
So by
meal?
coordinating the food banks, you're actually feeding more people.
That was one of the goals, is try to feed more people and be good stewards of the food that we have, so we can share that with the folks that need it. And
You'd be the perfect guy for that job too. I can imagine. The way you said good stewardship, I would imagine that's you.
But you got to remember that when they give food, they're not giving food that they're going to give them every single day. So if they do have to go to a second one, it's okay. Now if people are selling it somewhere else, that's what we're trying to eliminate. And we want to make sure we're good stewards of the food, and people are not going to bed hungry. I mean, that's why I got involved in the first place, that children will not go to bed hungry.
So what else do you have for us? What are some other
there's some other
statistics?
statistics. 1 in 5 kids risk of going to bed hungry tonight. About 1 in 10 Florida residents 50 or older risk hunger due to lack of resources. We really need 78 million more meals a year to fill the hunger gap in Central Florida. So
Really?
it's amazing, some of the stats. If you looked at food insecurity among children, there's 143,000 children we estimate that are food insecure. You could fill the Amway Center 7 times.
Wow.
That's just amazing.
That's just in Central Florida.
Yes.
Wow.
Now, I'm mainly focused on South Lake County right now, but everything overlaps to a certain extent. So we actually did a food drop in Four Corners not too long ago, last month. Very successfully, fed over 200 families. Pastor Michael Hopewell down there in New Waters Church, he was highly involved. He was the main guy down there.
So you guys do food drops. I mean, are you typically feeding the homeless? Are you feeding people who are, I hate this phrase, but for lack of a better word, the working poor? I mean, who are you feeding primarily? And again, I want to give people an idea of, this might be the guy next door, right?
Yeah, we're working off a list of known folks that we know. But it's homeless, it's people that are food insecure, that don't have enough money in order to feed their family for the entire week. So we're reaching out to those folks that we know need it.
How does that name come to you? Obviously, that's not a database that you just call up somebody and go, oh, send me the names of the people who are hungry. How do you get those names?
They come to the food pantries, and so we get those lists that way. And there's other ways they get it. I mean, if a neighbor that's food insecure, we're not going to turn them away. So we're also just looking to folks that need it. Those lists are changing all the time.
Do you typically see that somebody's gone hungry for a bit before they get to you?
I think people are proud.
Because again, it is humbling, right?
I think people are proud. I mean, I'm a proud guy, and it would probably take me a little bit, but in order to feed my family and to do the right thing, then I would go.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you'll do for your kids that you wouldn't do.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly right.
I tell people all the time that they ask me why I stopped being an actor, and it was a revelation that I had that it wasn't fair for my children. It was one thing for Dad to be a starving artist, for my wife to be starving because she chose a husband who she knew was going to be a starving artist, but the kids didn't choose. They don't care that Daddy's not being artistically fulfilled. They want to eat.
Yeah, you want your kids to do better than you and thrive. So that's why you do what you do.
Let me ask you this. Let's talk about the food drop for another second. Is this specifically Thanksgiving based? Are you giving away turkeys? Are you giving away groceries to fill in the gap because there are other services that do Thanksgiving?
So kind of numerous things. So Second Harvest, we're bringing in a full truck of food. So the people at Second Harvest have been totally awesome to work with. They're bringing in the food. They helped us, with the site coordination. That's one thing. The local, these folks in this organization, especially Real Life and First United Methodist and Church of South Lake, they're putting together reusable bags with Thanksgiving stuff.
Oh, good.
So it's not a turkey, but it's things that fixins for Thanksgiving. So on top of the food that we're giving out through Second Harvest, we're also having these bags that are Thanksgiving specific. So they're going to get their food, and we'll break that out, and then they'll get the bag. And we all do this coordinated effort where they come into school in their car, stay in their car, drive through, we load their car, and then they drive out. So it's very coordinated. They don't need a bunch of people walking up, so it's a very coordinated event. So,
I love that idea. I mean, because you're really working hard to preserve the dignity. I mean, it's hard enough to come do that, but to have to get out and stand in line and 18 other people and three guys, is the classic story. I mean, this has actually happened to me. I was at a food bank getting food for my family, and, three people from my church were volunteering there. And so it was, I mean, what do? You still needed the food.
Well,
now, this was some years ago, but I think it's really cool that you're providing a system not just to get them food, but to provide their dignity in what's got to be a tough process.
You have to be compassionate and patient, and because nobody wants to be food insecure, but you want to be able to help them. I mean, it's not, you don't choose to be that way.
It's one of those things that's on that list of things no kid ever woke up and said, "I want to be when I grow up. I want to be a drug addict. Yeah. When I grow up, I want to be homeless." Nobody. When I grow up, I want to be hungry. It just never happens.
And we want to fill that gap when kids are out of school and through the Thanksgiving time. Everybody wants to have a special meal Thanksgiving, but also also the gap from when they're out of school until they go back to school.
Right.
So that's hopefully filling some of that need.
Do you have another food drop scheduled for December too, or is there something coming up for that?
We are looking on some for next year. And all the organizations do their own thing for Christmas.
Right.
So everybody has certain programs that they have, but we're still a fairly new organization, and this is our second food drop. This is bigger than the first one, so we're building.
Do me a favor. We have the obviously have the flyer up here. People can get that. They can join you there or call and see what they can do.
They should call me instead of having just.
We
want people just to show up. So
look. This is your camera over here. Look over there and tell people if they know somebody who's hungry, if they're hungry themselves, or if they want to help some way. Whether it's donations or money or volunteer, tell them how they can take part, how they can get in touch with you.
So if you want to volunteer, you want to donate money or funds or time, call me, Keith Whitacre at 952-239-5870, or you can email me. It's my first name dot last name at Gmail, so it's KEITH.Whitacre WHITACRE at gmail.com, and you can run that through me, and I'll coordinate it. Either email or via phone.
All right, great. Keith, thank you so much.
Thanks, Joe.
Once again, a fantastic guest. You did a great job.
Always a pleasure.
This is something people need to know about. Even if you're not the hungry one, you need to know about these services because you might run across somebody who is.
Yeah,
and it's always good to be able to help.
You can always donate through your local church. You can donate through the Community Foundation of Southlake, or you can donate through Faith Neighborhood Center in many ways. So.
And I will remind people that we are still doing a peanut butter drive for the month of December. We're starting things now. If you own a business, you'd like to be a drop-off spot to benefit the food banks Keith is talking about. If you would like to use your business as a food drop-off spot, please reach out to me. If you would like to donate peanut butter, just give me a call. I will drive to your house just to pick up one stinking jar. So please take part. It's so important to keep people fed. This is the United States of America. There is no reason in the entire world that anybody should go hungry. And with that said, I'd like to thank Keith for joining us and ask you, if you know somebody that should be a guest on Joe Knows Southlake, reach out to me. I'm sure Jay has the information up. Call, text, email. You can send a dove with a message attached to his foot. I answer to direct messaging and Facebook Messenger. Just let me know, and we'll sit down and have a cup of coffee, and you can let me know who it is. You know somebody who should be advertising on Southlake. See, it's all fun and games till you go live. If you know somebody that should be advertising. Wow, 2 in a row.
Joe.
One more is the charm. If you know somebody that should be promoting their business on Southlake TV, how about that? Good save. Or who would like to be a sponsor of Joe Knows Southlake, please, you can reach out to me through the same information. We'd love to have you as part of our family of sponsors, and I will be truly grateful. And finally, I'd like to remind you that there is greatness inside you. And just like Keith has shown us, he's using his greatness to help and bring out the greatness in others. And I dare you today, show your greatness and bring out the greatness in others. I'll see you tomorrow, and I love you. Bye-bye. My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe knows South Lake. Joe Knows South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors: